Yeah, that's my single right there called Growth. That's on Apple Music. That's my song right there, my motivational sound. I recently changed my sound so I could uplift God, and that's the first song I made actually for that switch of sounds. All right, so this question right here is our famous question right now at this point, but I was told that, we got to ask this for you. What made you decide to go against the beast?
Because I felt like I needed to do something, and I didn't want to stay the same anymore. I just felt like I was angry. I needed to use my voice, speak up, defend myself, and do whatever I have to do in order to change the course of my life. And so I just felt like there was no other way out but to do that. At first it was scary, right? Because I'm like, well, I'm thinking of the consequences of whatever it is that I'm doing. Then I realized something. Even if you feel fear to do something, because if it's something new and you're not used to doing a particular thing, right? It's gonna be fearful, especially if it's unfamiliar and unknown territory. But even if it's unfamiliar and unknown territory, you have to see what it is, because you just never know what might be on the other side of whatever unknown territory you're going to. And you might just realize like, okay, well, I was scared, but it wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. The reward can be better than what you expected. And so after realizing like, okay, I can do this. I have the strength and the power now to continue pushing forward, going beyond the limitations. I realized like, okay, I have the spirit of a fighter, and I was born to do this. I was chosen to do this. It didn't happen at random. It was made to be that way because from where I come from and my family and everything and the people that I've been surrounded by, there's no one like me. There's no one that's willing to admit stuff. There's no one that's willing to put up a fight to change certain things. And so that's just what made me realize I just got to continue pushing forward. And because I needed a relief and I needed to do something else, because I felt like I was dying. What I was doing, I was abandoning myself. I was avoiding myself. And by avoiding the issue, by avoiding this enemy that was mostly of a mental type of enemy, my life was just put on hold and I wasn't happy. I felt miserable. I was very depressed. And so getting angry one day, something just clicked off and said to me, you can't continue to be this way anymore. It's now or never. So I just used my anger and allow my anger to trigger me to defend myself and not allow other people to treat me any type of way. That made me realize I had power and that I didn't know that I had, and that people were just purposely trying to beat that out of me. And I just did it, and now I feel like I'm an unstoppable force. Like nobody, like I know it sounds crazy. I'm not trying to like make it seem like, oh my God, no. Me, no one could. I don't care what happens. Like no one can stop me. There's no one that can stop you unless you let them stop you. That's what motivated me to do that.
It sound like the beast about to get their ass beat. That's what it sound like.
The beast got defeated already.
Yeah. Hey. Serious. I just I don't know. My mindset is like that.
Pray
now.
for
Like,
the beast.
I'm telling you, oof. But it took me a long time. It was a long time, but I just feel like people should just adapt that mentality of like, you get knocked down, like, like Mike Tyson and all these fighters, like, yeah, he didn't always win everything, but if you push forward and you continue, you don't give up on things that you don't need to give up on, especially for freedom. Because let me tell you something, having to do the work that I did was to liberate myself from the mental slavery that was placed upon me, which is worse than physical slavery. A physical slave, they know that they're a slave. A mental slave can think that they're free, but they're living in a mental cage. When it comes to fighting for freedom and for me to like be able to like have the ability to be able to spread my wings, because I'm a free spirit. As I choose to do so, I will always continue to fight for that. Today's world, today's society, those that sit at the top of the pyramid have putting the masses into a mental cage. And some people are glamorizing that cage and they have no idea that they're not a slave because they don't have chains on their legs and their hands.
the truth. That is the truth.
Yeah, it's all true, man. Anybody have any comments about this? I think we discussed all these topics. We asked all these questions. This is Creative Collections. We here with Goldfinger Visions. We here with Squeaky Gems, promoting for everybody to get their natural herbs, take care of themselves, especially in times like this.
Somebody wanted to speak? Miss Brenda Black?
Hello.
Hi. Hello. How are you, everyone? Hi.
Great.
So I make some comments on some of the things you said. First, I don't feel pity for you at all, but it does touch my heart. And, I don't know if I would say I feel sad, but I feel compassion hearing the stories of, your family saying mean things to you and saying that you're ugly. And it also shocks me because I think you're so beautiful. And when I see pictures of you and your body, I'm like, oh my God, she's so gorgeous. She's so beautiful. So I wanted to say that. And I wanted to say that, and it's interesting that your backstory, because it's like a Greek tale where, the gods are trying to kill the demigod because the god is afraid they're going to, the child is going to grow up and kill the evil king. That's like you. And it's interesting that you were told that you can't speak and you're retarded. And then you've grown up to be this incredibly powerful, inspiring speaker. It's very like biblical and like magical. And then I wanted to say two other things, and then I'll wrap it up, is that when you think about a trauma, if something triggers you that happened and it's something that happened when you were a child, keep this in mind, is that a lot of times when that trauma, you revisit it, you're looking at, like, say something bad happened to you when you were 9, and then a memory happens that reminds you of that trauma. You will be brought back not only to that time, but how your emotional level. So you will look at the experience like you're 9 years old again. So you might be like, I'm 30, why does this still bother me? I thought I was over this. It's because a lot of times when you're going back to that trauma, you're going back to being 9 years old, and you're not thinking about it like the rational 30-year-old. You're thinking about it like you're 9 years old again. So you have to step back and look at it as an adult, like deal with your inner child, if that makes any sense. I hope it does. And then the last thing I'll say is it's really important to set boundaries. Even what's happened with all the COVID crap, people let the government go through boundaries that they shouldn't be going through. And that's because I think also a lot of people don't know how to set boundaries in their personal lives. And that's why it's easy for the government to do it. And I think it's nefarious. I think we've been groomed to be that way. So I would say we all have to set boundaries and set boundaries to our government. And we all have to remember that no is a complete sentence that doesn't need any other explanation.
I agree.
I like that.
So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll go back to listening. God bless.
Agree. God bless you
Thank you.
so much for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Brenda. And I agree with what you said about boundaries. That's one thing that I didn't talk about. I was raised in a home where there was no boundaries.
That was solid.
For example, like even though I'm an adult now, like if I go take a shower and I lock the bathroom door, my mom says, "Why are you locking the bathroom door? We're all a family." And I'm like, "Why didn't you want me to lock the bathroom door? I'm an adult. Like, why does that even bother you?" So absolutely, and setting limits. I couldn't say no. Like if they wanted me to do something and I said no, automatically they felt disrespected by me because I said the word no. So with people that are abusers and takers, you have to set limits, because if you don't set limits, they're just gonna take and abuse and abuse and abuse and abuse. So for sure, I agree with you on there.
That was good. I like what she said about the inner child, dealing with the inner child. That's a part of therapy as well. They teach you that in therapy. You know, you have to deal with that inner child in order to grow up. Really, you could be 30 years old. You'll be stuck on the traumas from when you were 12 years old or younger. You know, and if you can't deal with that, that's going to be so hard for you to completely move on and grow up into the beautiful adult you're supposed to be. Okay, Kevin,
Right.
You have any thoughts on that?
I just got one thing to throw in here. And I don't think I've even said this to Joe ever. When I personally first went to Union Square. We were every Sunday in the middle of the winter going to speak out. And the first time Joe pulled up and got on the microphone, you know, there's like an electricity that flows through the air when she starts speaking. And it's like we're using an audio only platform right now. But in terms of like some of the things that were said earlier, I think the one other observation I would like to make is that there's something about the way that you're articulating everything that's going on from the personal individual to the societal and global level. There's also a certain way when Joe carries herself and the way, like the look in her eyes, that I didn't really realize it at first or really think about it, or it didn't really dawn on me. But there are times when I really feel like we're talking about a particular well-known, amazing Black woman who's been reincarnated. And that person I'm talking about, and I want to ask everyone here if if maybe I'm the only one, or if maybe anyone else can see this, but it's Nina Simone. When I look, and yeah, I'm sitting here, and Ollie's shaking her head in agreement. We're seeing a Nina Simone type figure with the way that she affects people through her voice. And obviously Nina, it was through music, but through the way Joe speaks and the way that she articulates herself and the way that she carries herself. I just wanted to make that observation. I don't know if that's kind of a change of subject.
That's fine, because some things needed to be correlated so that other people could understand and really, you know, connect with who Joe is. You understand? So that's a good point. I see what you're saying, because it's powerful when she speaks, and you could tell she's a genuine human being that's been through the traumas that this country has put on, not only for her as a Dominican, but us all as humans, period. And for her to be able to speak her pain, and she speaks bilingual, she says it in English and Spanish, that tells you something, like something is wrong here. Something is wrong. So I do agree with that. She does favor that Nina Simone, that spirit. Yeah.
When you said it feels like I could feel electricity, like I can hear what you're saying, because it's just a meaningful time, and it's just like a lot of energy, it's a lot of power, it's a lot of righteousness, it's a lot of strength, it's a lot of tenacity. It's so much different. Great elements, you know what I'm saying, when she speaks and stuff like that, that you can actually really feel something. So I feel what you're saying, like I hear you.
Right. You remember when Shawnee Culture said, when you say things with conviction, it gets through? Like, she says things with conviction. That's how it's really touching a lot of people. Because people talk. We all could talk. But when you say things with conviction, it just hits a little bit harder. You know, it hits a lot.
Yeah.
Different.
I tell people all the time, it's how it's when you say the same thing for when you say something nice and when you say something mean. You could say something that's, the wording is nice, but you could say it in a mean way. Like, have a good day. You could be like, have a good day.
Right.
That sounds like to me. That sounds terrible.
Right.
That sounds terrible to me. You said something nice, but you sound pretty angry. You know, so your word, like you said, conviction, and the way you say it is very powerful. In the way, you know, she speaks and says it sometimes, like all the times from what I've seen, it sounds like, you know, I mean what I'm saying, and this is genuinely what I'm saying. It's pain in this, and it needs to be heard. It's trauma in this, it needs to be heard. It's growth. It's so much different elements to it. Like I said, we could talk about the elements all day, but nonetheless, it's great things being said.
Definitely some fire going on. Like, Joe, you sparked a huge fire.
Thank you. You know, I laugh now. Thank you, Karen. You know, I laugh now, but honestly, like, I think back of years ago, I never thought that I would be doing this or whatever the case might be. You know, like with me, like I say things the way that I do. I'm not perfect or anything like that, but I say it because I mean it from my heart. Like, I'm not trying to like manipulate people. I'm not trying to get people to like, I don't know, to give me like accolades or for people to like kiss my butt. Like, I'm saying things because that's just how I feel. And mostly when I talk about certain things, it's based on my personal like experiences, because like I said, I think the best teachers in life is not a textbook in the classroom, but it's life itself and how you take those situations and you turn them around and you do whatever you have to do to just help yourself to get better. With my voice or the things that I say, what I've been through can help someone else to like realize like, okay, I can change, I can do this, I can do that, then I'm okay with that. And I'm happy with that, because why not? Like, you know, elderly people, grandparents and stuff like that, I don't have any of them anymore alive, but they provide you with wisdom. Why? Because of their life experiences. And they can teach you things that nobody else can teach you. So that's why I say the things that I do and stuff like that, because I mean well. I'm not perfect, but I mean well. And life is a learning experience. And sometimes we make mistakes, and it's how we get out of those situations that can either make you a better person or not a better person.
All right.
Juju, you're gonna come in? You're gonna come in? You got it. There you go.
Hello.
Hey, Angie.
Hi,
Hola.
can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. I have to show my appreciation because of her. You know, it always helped me and reminds me that you can be a soul, to be brave and stand up and speak up. That's like this every time, you know, listening to Joe, it's just always a reminder for us as souls to like stand up and speak up. That's the only way we can break away from the fear. Like, I mean, being a part of this freedom group and this freedom community has taught me a lot, because I have been through the journey too, you know, finding myself and finding my voice. There's a lot of times in my life I felt like I didn't have a voice. And, you know, when this came about, you know, when I first saw Joe was at Union Square when she spoke, and that was like in March 2021. And I was like, wow. And, you know, I felt like I was the only one that was like feeling, you know, this whole thing, this whole psychological and spiritual war, and, you know, the whole system crashing down on the people that did not want to comply to, you know, the things that was going on. So I really appreciate her. I'm grateful for her, and also the Freedom Group and the rest of the, you know, the community that has, you know, brought their voice in on this. And so, yeah, I'm grateful for her very much. But what we have to do is our goal is to continue. That's the only way. We have gotten this far to the Great Awakening. We've come this far to the point that there's no going back. There's no going back at all. You have to continue to go. We have to continue to use our voice in any way, or use our platform in any way. And even though if there's times like we may not feel like we're not doing enough for contributing, you know, still think of ways to still, you know, do what you have to do to continue to bring your voice to the table, or bring your ideas and thoughts and all that is needed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your bravery as well. And all of you, you know, for serving these people, serving them and letting them know what needs to be done from we the people, you know. And shout outs to New York du jour, Queens du jour, Saving Sovereignty Ray. Shout outs to New York State against mandates, and everybody all over internationally who is standing up to the tyrannical behaviors of these wicked higher powers.
Facts. Very necessary activity, you know what I'm saying? When you see something clearly going wrong, you know what I'm saying? It's time for cognitive dissonance to move to the side. It's time for a reality check, and it's time for people to, you know, get a view of where their power lies, because we can't allow things to just go a certain narrative, keep going that way. And you clearly know, especially for the people that been reading and been so-called conspiracy theorists for 10 years and all that, we know what's going on. But we appreciate frontliners. We appreciate people supporting any way they can. We appreciate the little things. We appreciate the reports. We appreciate the talks, higher powers in the system that don't necessarily agree with every little thing. We appreciate the people doctors that been going at it and risking their careers, all of that stuff, you know. All that stuff play a role, because without all of that, it would be a big, harder, you know, worse circumstance.
Right. All the teachers that stood up, all the firefighters, all the truckers, all the farmers, everybody. And what is it that you do, Joe?
I was a paraprofessional teacher assistant.
Right. Yes. Thank you for everybody from the institution, the education, the health workers, everybody that has lost their job and is fighting these mandates and surviving and helping to change the law with common law. We're going to get on that too. We're going to get to, I'm waiting for Ray to confirm, because we need to dig into these laws so that people understand what it really is, how to combat these things with, you understand, with our natural sovereign human laws, our human rights.
Yeah, that's about it right there. I think we all wrapped up here. We talked about a lot of topics. The conversation was great. So Squeaky, I want to tell everybody we about to wrap it up and tell everybody good night. And I guess you can shout out to sponsors and everything. Who we got today?
Wait, Squeaky, hold on. Before we go, I would just like to thank Joe for coming on the platform and sharing her story. You know, just listening to her story, it kind of reminded me of my upbringing and my story a little bit. So she kind of reminded me of why I am the way I am and why I'm so strong. So I just want to thank her for coming up and just sharing the story. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And thank you for having me. Juju, thank you as well.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Squeaky, you can continue.
Yeah, so we have Mama Greens. That's to grow your own food. Grow your own food indoors. We have Nuestra Salud. That's all the herbs and the detox, the teas. I always try to stress the importance of knowing your local farmers. All right. So you could definitely go to Squeaky Clean Juices and Gems for the promo codes and keep yourself healthy, your spirit healthy. Always check in with yourself and with God. We got to just keep connecting with one another, because God places us in each other's lives for a reason. And we're all on we're all on the right path, and we all have our own gifts that we bring to the table to uplift the kingdom. So I'm proud of everybody, and I thank you all for tuning in and for taking the time out to come join us on this discussion of how we can make things better. Because a lot of people are not talking about how to just, come up with solutions. But you all are. So that's why we are shining the light on y'all. We want the youth to look back at this moment so they can have this as a historical text, and they can say, look, these are the people who are fighting, who fought for us. These are the people who fought for our rights as humans, So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So anything else? Roy, would you like to say anything?
Yeah, my bad. Just want to thank everybody that tuned in today and everybody that was on the stage. Thank you.
So we are signing out, and I'll end it off with a song from Jimmy Levy, and we'll be back next Saturday. Stay tuned. Thank you, Joe, and shout out to Lady B. Shout out to Tyree, the developer, our administrators. Thank you so much.
They want you locked in your home without God and alone. Don't want you looking up Dr. Sebi and Robert Malone. The truth blocked on your phones. They call the shots from their throne. These politicians and these doctors, they are not in control.